Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor University. Today's guest on Better Than I Found It is University of Arizona women's head coach Giovana Maymon. Now in her first year at U of A, Giovana has been a quick study. Her team won 2 of the 4 tournaments they entered this fall, and she is definitely off to a great start. Giovana, who was a member of Baylor's 2015 NCAA runner-up team, as well as the Big 12 championship that year, is truly one of the most enthusiastic coaches I've ever run across. I expect her to be a great coach for years to come. I think you'll really enjoy listening to her, and her energy will be very apparent once you listen. Okay, everybody, please welcome my guest today on Better Than I Found It, Giovana Maymon, the head women's golf coach at the University of Arizona there in Tucson. Giovana, really nice having you this morning. You are obviously somebody I know pretty well from your time at Baylor, but thank you for taking the moment that you are today to spend time with me.
Thank you, Coach. It's a pleasure to be here. I hear your podcast all the time, and now to be a guest speaker here, it's an honor. And I know you and me go way back, so I can't wait for the episode and to spend some time in the podcast.
Well, I appreciate you agreeing to come on here today. And we're going to talk about your fall season, which just ended in Scotland, the home of golf, if you will. But before we get to that, let's talk about some other things that I think are pretty important. You guys have had a successful fall, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was really fun.
Really good, especially for a first-year head coach. That's pretty amazing stuff. So anyway, as people can probably hear, there's a little bit of an accent there. It's not, you ain't from Texas, although you spent some time in Texas.
Yeah, no, the accent hasn't gotten there, but one day maybe. Yeah.
I will say for the record, your English is better than most of these Texans, okay? It just has an accent attached to it, but you speak very good English. But you're from Mexico City. Your childhood home is Mexico City, and I know you still have a great love of Mexico City and all of that, and I hope you get back often to visit. But talk about your childhood, your junior golf career. I know you went to an academy here in the United States. Who was your biggest influence? Let's just spend a few minutes talking about how, I mean, you're obviously a coach today at a major university, but you were a golfer at one time.
Yes, I mean, I think like I had a golf club before I had anything else in my hands as a baby. My dad is a huge golfer. My whole family, I mean, 4 grandparents, mom, sister, everybody plays golf. And It was something that we were almost like meant to do. My dad, like I said, my dad's super passionate about it. And we always loved it. It was something that I almost grew up thinking that my career was always going to be golf. But I mean, I think I played pretty competitive growing up. I mean, I started at 3, and then at 4, I was playing tournaments nationally in the 7-year division. And I think like I played really well when I was really young. Even like I finished runner-up in the junior world when I was 6 years old, and like won international tournaments in the US when I was 8, 9, 10. It's almost like I had a peak when I was like way younger. And it's kind of crazy when you go back to it, but I always loved golf. I mean, it was really fun. I was really passionate about it, like probably a little feisty on the Mexican side, but my biggest influence, I would say, was my dad, just because like he was my teacher growing up, and he really, my dad and my mom, because my mom really took over us and took us every day to the golf course. And I think although my dad was more involved in the golf part, my dad worked a lot, and then my mom took us everywhere. So I think moms are amazing in that side, that you maybe don't see it when you're younger, but all those hours, all those times that she's there all the time and traveling, and she didn't really know English as well. And coming to the US without that and 2 kids, that's a challenge. And so I think my 2 parents were my biggest influencers. But in Mexico, I mean, we had big names growing up. Like Lorena
Mhm.
Ochoa was probably a big influence for me to like really pursue my dreams. I mean, I think we had great competitors growing up, like Gabby Lopez, like I grew up playing with her since I was 6, and having people that play good golf really makes everybody plays good golf. Like having so many players play good, but I mean, just Lorena and what she did and in Mexico, it was like a really inspiration for everybody back home. And even nowadays, I mean, now that I came to U of A, that she was here, I mean, it's like our relationship has only gotten better from there. But she was always a big influence, just kind of following her footsteps and what she did. But just the competitive standpoint of Mexico growing up, like I think we had really good players that made us better. Yeah.
You know, she quit at such a young age to have a family, which is very admirable, wonderful. And we don't know what her career might have been, but she may have been one of the most dominant athletes in any sport for a time that there's ever been. And you had that as an example, as an influence, as a motivator. That must be amazing. And then, as you mentioned, you get to coach at the university where she played and set some unbelievable records. So it can't be overstated how much impact she's had on Mexican women's golf for sure.
No, it's amazing. And I would say still does, now like she's super involved with women getting like I think we had more involvement into professional golfers, but now like she's really into really helping juniors and getting them ready for college and the professional world because they kind of started to realize this the earlier we get in, the earlier they can help the kids, the better it's gonna be instead of starting after college. So she's really, really involved in the golf in Mexico, and I think she's a big inspiration. And I think like a lot of the professional golf can be really, really tough. And being a mom and professional golfer, like I admire what she did. I think it takes a lot of strength to get away from all the expectations from society and really put yourself first with that. And I think her biggest strength was always her mind. Always. I mean, she had an amazing golf, but and very talented, but her mind, I think like taking away from her book, just reading her book, and getting to know her, just the mentality of it is very inspirational for
What was
sure.
the name of her book? I'm going to get a copy. I did not know she had one.
I think I mean it's Lorena Ochoa. Let me make sure I know the exact book, but I think it was just Dreaming Big or Dream. It was like Dream Big by Lorena Ochoa. It's like her biography, pretty much, but
I want to read that. I I think it doesn't matter if you're a male coach, like a coaching male golfers, or you're playing in the NBA, or you are a world-class golfer, whatever. When you listen to and read the story of one of the greatest ever, that person's teaching you something. So I got to get this book. So thank you for telling me that.
yes, it's a good one. It goes into her life too and her choices and her profession. It's good. It's like yours, Coach. Very good book too.
Don't mention my name with her. She's a little above where I am, okay?
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, she's being a huge influence, and coming to University of Arizona has been awesome. Like it has really brought us together, and she's incredibly excited about the program, and yeah, so this has a lot of Mexican roots to it, and yeah, she's a great influence for me.
That's wonderful. Well, you mentioned about your junior career, it kind of peaked out a little earlier than you hoped, but you did well enough to get to come to Baylor. And before we talk about how Jay Goebel got you to Baylor, talk about the academy experience you had for 1 year in the United States.
Yes, I mean, I think like a big part of it with my parents, I mean, as young and sometimes you don't really know how the recruiting process goes and what you need to do. And I mean, everybody was like, in that time, you need to go to an academy if you want to go to the United States. Like that's the way to go. So my English was okay. I really wanted to get into English, and I went to Gary Gilchrist Golf Academy.
Oh yeah.
Very different to Mexico City. Parents go with you everywhere, and you go and live in a house with 5 other women your age. You play golf 24/7. You work out every single day of the week. You travel the weekends to play golf. But I've never had so much fun in my life to be people, I think to be around people that did the same as me and that had the same passions. I think in the Mexican culture, I always struggle a little bit of like coming back to school and having so much work, and like the sporting world is not the same as the United States. And having that and surrounding myself with people that wanted the same things as me really helped me. I mean, the academy was, I would say I really didn't focus that much technically. I just like played a lot of golf, and it was great. I played really good golf in that year. I really like Florida golf. It got me used to like probably grass that I wasn't as used to being in Mexico City, and that helped me a lot in my career. Just like the grainy Bermuda that we don't really have in Mexico as much. I mean, we have it in the beach, but all those little things that, and just playing golf all the time, like being competitive. And I probably wasn't, it's crazy because looking back, I didn't have probably not my best technical part, but I was just so confident in myself playing all the time and being competitive every day with people. Like even when you were practicing, you were doing games and
Mhm.
everything was competitive. So I love that year. I mean, I think that's a little bit when I got more with Jay, I would say like he actually, you talked about being to Baylor, but Jay watched me when I was 12 years old in a tournament in Cancun in Mayakoba. And that was it was one of my first AJGAs, and he saw me there. And he's like, I want this kid. And I'll never forget when I went into like the first time I talked to him, and he's like, when I saw you there, you never had the best swing or you never had this, but you could save par from everywhere. Like you were a grinder and you scramble for everywhere. And that's, I mean, the technical part, you were going to develop it, but that's something that I wanted to see in players that a lot of times you don't see. So I think that's kind of the player that I always was. Like I was never the longest one, or I was never the one that had like crazy, something crazy good, but I just managed to score. Like I think that that was my biggest strength.
Well, I think if a coach is paying attention when he's recruiting, he sees things like that. And I'll give Jay high props on that because so many times we get distracted by talent. So many times we get distracted by a ranking. And I know rankings are real and talent is real, but there's other things that are intangibles. I think that's how Ryan Hybl at the University of Oklahoma got Max McGreevy, who's playing the PGA Tour now, to Oklahoma. He was looking for the intangibles that made Max special, and that's why Max is still playing today. But Jay got you here to Baylor, and a lot of special things happened while you were here at Baylor. And my first year at Baylor, you all had a special year. I believe it was your freshman year.
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
And the fall wasn't great. You guys didn't play great in the fall, didn't have a high ranking. You got an incredible mid-year entry level person, which was Dylan Kim. And she
Mhm.
ended up being a first team All-American and doing all kinds of great things. But it wasn't just Dylan. Everybody else jumped on board and played well that spring to win a Big 12 championship, first ever, and to finish runner-up in the NCAA championship. So let's go back to the Big 12. I don't remember where it was, but I think it was in Texas. Is that right?
Yes, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Briggs Ranch, maybe?
Dominion?
Oh, Dominion. Okay. Dominion.
Dominion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the smiles on you girls' faces when I saw the photo. It was pretty jaw-dropping. You guys played amazing golf right there.
Yes, I mean, it was, I think like you nailed it when you said like when Dylan came, it was a huge difference because I think we had really good three players where like we had four, three of in the fall, but then when we came to the spring, we had really solid four. Like we kind of our fifth player kind of changed a lot in the lineup in the year. Like we won Palos Verdes tournament with Luis, and then kind of like went the four were Haley, Dylan, Lara, and me. We were kind of like always those four that played, but that five kind of came and went, and it kept us competitive. But that was good. And then we came into postseason and then Big 12. And I mean, it's kind of those feelings that you know you're gonna win. I mean, we were playing pretty good. We felt really good. I would say our preparation for it was really good. We just felt very confident. We loved the course. I'll never forget, it's been one of the best practice rounds I've ever had. Just like, we were probably not the most talented team, coach, like by far, but I've never had a team with the best culture. Like we had players that had a role for everything. I mean, a leader that called you out if you didn't do well on this and that, and that was definitely Lara. But everybody looked up to Haley with how good she was in golf, and Dylan came in mid-year, but blend in her way, but we respected each other. But I mean, everybody kind of really had a good week there, and came together, but it was really special.
You mentioned Laura, you were talking about Laura Lenardi, the Italian girl, who may be one of the most impressive student athletes I've ever seen because she was a great player. She was an All-American,
Yeah.
but she was absolutely brilliant in the classroom. And I don't think there's anything that Laura can't do in life. I really believe that. And she never gets talked about. So thank you for mentioning her. Yeah.
I agree. I have to say she's one of my closest friends now. She just became a mom in
Oh,
August.
wow. Great.
Yes, but like I always say this because I think it's the most impressive fact. She had no errors in her math version on the SAT. No mistake. And let me tell you, coach, when you have no mistakes on that test, that tells you how, I mean, she had a 100% scholarship to MIT after she graduated Baylor. She did stats 4.0 her whole career. But I mean, to the point that, and she was an amazing player, just like the most competitive, like as a teammate. I've never had someone that drove you like she was amazing teammate to get you better every day with how competitive she was. Like the most competitive person I've ever met in my life. And Italians can be that way. I have an Italian in my team right now, and I can tell you, I think it's in their blood. But amazing teammate. And as like you said, I think like there's nothing she cannot do. But yeah, very impressive. That doesn't get talked about as much. And she did a great job for Baylor too.
Oh my goodness, did she do? She was wonderful. In fact, Jay Goebel and I have talked about it on numerous occasions. If you could find one of those girls every 2 or 3 years, I don't know if they exist, but if you could do that,
Yeah.
you got a chance to build something great because, like you said, she was the person to hold people accountable. She
Mhm.
was so competitive. She didn't understand how somebody would not be competitive or how you could accept less than your best. She was
Yeah.
an amazing teammate.
And she's the kind of, I mean, I think like you said there, you want that kid, and she was probably not the kid that you would see on paper that was the best recruit, like wasn't the best Italian player, or she kind of ended going because of her boyfriend there. Like things like that, that is kind of like lucky to come, but it's those things that teach you as a coach, like, okay, like it's not maybe the best player on paper. Like you need to find those players that are going to be amazing for your team. But like you said, she was the best player to call you out and was not scared of what you thought about her. It was about being the best person and teammate you could be. And if that meant you get your ass out of bed and go and work hard and do this, like that was the kind of team that, and I'll expand on this, but like with Jay, he didn't put any practice or anything for us after conference because he said, you girls got it. And we were there every morning, every afternoon, working hard, doing what we had to do. It was funny because after regionals, there was nationals tennis. They had the national tennis championship here, and we kind of built a routine that we all loved it. We went to practice all morning, and then we went to see matches and supported Baylor, and we kind of had these routine that made us so. And honestly, like it was incredible that our coaches were there all the time, but they didn't even have to tell us to be there. We were just there because we really wanted to do better and get ready for nationals.
So if you can figure out how to recreate that culture everywhere you go, as long as you coach at Arizona, you're going to have a great, great career. It's not that easy as pushing a button. It's a little harder. So
Way harder to do.
it,
It's magical almost. It doesn't
it
happen too often.
is almost magic. You're right. So we fast forward, you get through regionals and we get to the NCAA championship at Concession in Florida, which I think before we talk about your vivid memories, one memory you have to have had is how hard the golf course was. I remember watching it on the TV for the women's telecast. It was the first year they had telecast both men and women at the same event. And the golf course was just, quite frankly, a little too hard for women.
Oh,
It
yes.
really was at the time. It was just not, and Mary Lou Mulfler and several other coaches admitted it's like this is not what it can't be this hard, you know?
No, I mean, I will never, ever forget this golf course, coach. In my mind, it's the hardest golf course I've ever played, besides blessings, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's how hard it is. I mean, I think like your expectations get like everybody's gonna make bogeys out here. Like it's just, I played it before in the Rolex Girls in like 20, I mean, maybe 2015 or 16 when we played the Rolex Girls. And I always remember Araya Utanagar or Araya, she shot 18 under to win, which I'll tell you, it's not out there ever. And then the second place was her sister with even par. Like it was always hard. And then as a national championship, I mean, they put those greens fast. And as you know, like there's so many hills out there and it was long. I mean, I think like the four par fives, I'll never forget this, but I hit like hybrids into par fives. And those greens, like the par fives have the hardest greens too. So there's never a time the golf course that gives in for you to score.
Mhm.
But in a way, like it teaches you so much as a player to be okay with good shots turning bad. Like this was a completely mental course. Like we were gonna be the team that did the best in managing bad shot, like bad results and being okay with things you couldn't control and it was going to be windy and all of this. But the course, I mean, man, that was a tough course. I mean, you missed it 1 yard and you were 30 yards off green.
Mm.
That's how hard it was. And for the girls, they put it long too. I mean, I had 6 irons, four hybrids. I mean, even for long heaters, 8 irons, 7 irons into those greens, it's pretty hard. Like I've never been so nervous over 4 footers and 5 footers with 3 degree slope everywhere. I mean, an amazing course, but definitely one of the hardest courses I've ever been to. Like I said, the par fives were almost the hardest. Like you could never lose focus out there. Could never. I mean, one bad focus and you ended up in a bunker 30, 40 yards away with a huge slope green. Yeah, so it was a great challenge, but like I said, you had to be the most disciplined team out there for
Well, you all
sure.
must have done something right because you made it all the way to the finals. You won two matches that week, your quarterfinal match, and then you also won your final match against a Stanford player. But obviously, Stanford, one of the iconic programs in women's college golf, and you all went up. What was the feeling of that day? And obviously, the disappointment at the end of not winning, but you still had to feel great about what an incredible week. Talk about that final match.
Yes, I mean, I think like my first match really helped me with the last match. I mean, my first match was against Tennessee. We knew it was going to be a hard match, but I played the best golf. I would say that was the best round of golf I've ever played in my life. I
Mm.
shot one under par or like one under two. I won my match on 16 or hole seven because we started on 10 and I didn't miss. I just didn't. Like it was like one hole after the other. I hit it to like really close. And I just felt like it was so solid, but I gave it everything. Like I had everything I could into that match. And I told Jay, I was like, I can't believe I have 1 hour and I have to go against Duke, Sandy Choi, and I have to kill this. But I mean, I think that last match, I've truly never been so nervous in my life. I really haven't. Like just like I don't think I could feel my hands on that first hole. And in concession, the first hole, it's a hard hole. I mean, number two, it's really tough dogleg right with water on the right. Like, I mean, you start off and it's tough right away. And I was the second to last match, and Haley was behind me. And kind of Jay and Mary Michael went ahead because those holes were hard. And we kind of really bumped each other. We're like, like our coaches are there helping. We need each other and we support each other. But, I kind of you have to embrace the nerves and really like play with them. And once you start off, like it gets so much better. But the nerves mean that you care and that you love it and you want to be there. But just supporting each other. I mean, I felt nice that I didn't have to play 16, 17, 18. I really didn't want to play those holes. That's kind of what we said as a team. We're like, you know what? We don't have to play those holes if you played good before. And just watching, I mean, obviously it was heartbreaking at the end. Like, I think we cried forever after that. Just like, I think halfway, every single girl was winning in their match. Like, we had the 5 matches and I think like a big part, I mean, there's no one to blame. It's always a team effort, but I think at the end in that last match, it's kind of crazy when you start seeing like Haley hit an amazing iconic shot on hole 16 from the mod that I cannot tell you, but people don't really see this, but Haley always worked on getting her legs to not move. Like her drill number one was not moving her legs. Like that was her drill. And that shot was literally like she grounded herself, didn't move her legs. So we actually talked about it, like Jay and me were talking about it. And I was like, honestly, I think she's gonna hit a great shot here because literally that's her drill. Like she cannot move or she's gonna be like on that mod, and she hit an amazing shot. And it's crazy how golf works because after that shot and that hole, you're like, we're gonna win. You see that shake, but golf, like, I mean, one shot, one like everything can change. And one like, yeah, I mean, Maria, but I think like it came more for her before. Like sometimes when those pressures come, like it's almost like you need those matches beforehand. Like with Laura, we went into last holes too, that those matches are really important for that last match that had so much pressure. But I mean, runner-up experience, looking back, it hurts a lot. But what we did, winning conference, regionals, and then runner-up as a first time, like, I mean, honestly, like it's really hard to do. And sometimes, like, I think Jay has told us, like, I've had more talented teams by far in numbers wise, but I never had the team that I had with you guys, culture and really like pushing each other. So it was an amazing year that as a player and as a coach, I dream about every day. So
Well, hopefully you get a chance to do that again. And I would encourage anyone listening out there that if they haven't seen that shot that Haley hit,
yeah.
to go YouTube that. And it's number 16 final match of the 2015 Women's NCAA Championship. It's truly one of the greatest shots I've ever seen any player hit at any level. And Stackhouse, Maria, she finished with two amazing
Wow.
birdies to send that thing to a playoff. So, well, anyway, a great
Yeah.
iconic memory for you and one you'll cherish forever. But when you graduated from Baylor, I don't know if your thought was immediately to get into coaching, but I remember talking to you as you were leaving school, and it didn't look like maybe there was going to be a professional career, or you might be, but maybe you weren't sure about it. But you went and got a GA position at South Alabama, and that was your entrance into coaching, a graduate assistant. So talk about that experience, why you think it's valuable, and how you think somebody who wants to get into coaching, that would be a pathway in.
Yeah, I mean, I think those were one of the best 2 years that I could have ever had as a coach. Like it teaches you, like anybody that asks me that wants to get into coaching, I'm like, you got to start somewhere. And sadly, like a lot of times, internet, like you can't just start as an assistant in a big time program. Like that's just like it's not how it works. Like you have to start, or maybe it does, but it didn't for me. And like so much I learned from that, just like as a budget standpoint, like working in a program that is way smaller, it really makes you appreciate the things. But I mean, the players that I coached there were great, but I mean, obviously not the same as I've coached in A&M and here, but just kind of like development more. And I feel like you develop everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you develop. It doesn't matter the kind of players you recruit. I mean, it's 4 years, you're going to have up and downs, but going there, working with Matt Luther as my coach, he was a very, very technical, love to teach more than anything. And that actually taught me so much. I mean, really got me. I got into TrackMan. I got certified for TrackMan, TPI. I mean, all these certifications that really built me more as a coach. But I think I went into there going more for my master's. I actually went more to study and go from there. I did a sports management and then health masters. But managing all was, I mean, for me, two masters and then coaching and doing all of this was great. Like it really taught me how, like, when you're a student athlete, everything's done for you. And
Mhm.
once you get into the world, it's like, okay, I had to pick my classes, pick this, do this. Like nobody's holding your hand anymore. You have all of these things and also managing your expenses so much, you like they're paying for your school, but you have to pay rent and you have to do all this. So that year was honestly for me probably the best 2 years as an adult, I would say. Like it really helped me to see, okay, money wise? What do I want to do with my life? Like, is this what I like? Really asking myself all these questions as a person,
Hmm.
um, and what I wanted to do. And after my 2 years there, I loved it. I loved coaching the kids and spending time with them. And I probably didn't know how much Matt did back then until now that I'm a coach and get ready, you know, but just all the organization and everything he did just honestly by himself. Like I helped more the girls more than anything. But it was one of the best 2 years. I mean, it's just like going to a program that is smaller, you drive everywhere, you grind, like everything like that. It's really good to learn from there to go anywhere else. And it opens a lot of doors for you.
A young coach named Austin King, who's at Western Carolina, he
Mhm.
started as a GA there at South Alabama, which I thought was a great way for him to get in, and it opened the door for him to go to Charlotte. So, um, you know, you got the door open to come to Texas A&M and work for Garrett Chadwell, one of the great programs in the country. But then a new wrinkle came in there, and that is because you're international, you had to have a work visa and a green card. This is not GA where you're still studying. You're
Yeah.
now employed. So how did that process go? Was it difficult getting your green card or your work visa? How tough was that?
Yes, I mean, I think like you can come here and then study and have a student visa and you can work in a way, but then you got to start and think, okay, what am I going to do next? It's an OPT that you get, depends on the major that you do, but usually it's a year. I mean, if it's a hard major, engineering, math, you get 3 years, but it's usually one. So I had 1 year. I went with Garrett at A&M and M, and I was like, well, I have 1 year OPT. So it gives them a year. It's good. It's a great year because it gives you a year to apply for the work visa and but a work visa it always has to have an sponsor. So you need a sponsor from someone and that I mean A&M was great. You know, I had some like they supported me and they did my work visa, but halfway I it was my first time, you know, like you have no idea. You just go in there and they tell you they've done it before and oh yeah, it's a very easy process, but we'll see. And then halfway through, I'm like, hey, are we like applying? And they kind of like felt like they had to apply after my OPT was done. And it wasn't that actually. Like I went into research everything. You could apply way before. There's premium processing. There's all these little things that not someone is not maybe they don't even know and you have to be the one that talk to different lawyers what is the best way like you have to change your job description in a way because assistant coach doesn't seem too important for the government. Yes, that's just the honesty of it. So you kind of have to like really put yourself like why are you better than an American? That's the best thing. Like, why can an American do the things that you're gonna do? So you kind of have to prove it that way. And but I really halfway through, they told me they're like, we don't think this is gonna get approved. So what are your options? And I'm like, oh my God, like I have no idea what to do. And then I started seeing more things. I mean, it was like you start like you're like, how do I stay? How do I stay here? Marriage was not an option for me. So for I was like, there's a TM visa doing my PhD, getting into school again. There's different types of visas that you can do, but it's just more work. Like I had to do another job besides the one I'm doing. Like just a lot of, but I was super lucky, got approved. We did premium processing. I mean, it's an expensive process. Like these schools, organizations are really investing in you. So it's hard. And then from there, I actually said, I don't want to go over this again in my life. Like, what can I do to avoid this? So I talked to a lot of people and like lawyers, and I was like, how do I get my green card? Can I get my green card right now? My profile. So I got into contact with this great lawyer that helped me through like this process. And I actually applied for my green card and I got approved. And I mean, I say it like it was really easy and I just got approved and I have a green card now, but it's definitely like super time consuming and expensive and but
Probably
you
stressful too.
yes, very stressful to stay in the country, but I mean, I think if you do it the right way and you have the people and really ask everybody how they did it, like people that have done it before, what did they do? How did they get approved? Like having the right lawyers, the right forms, like everything like that matters. Just being a good citizen too,
Mhm.
like it actually mattered that I didn't have any like tickets, like that, those things, they care about those things. So, I mean, just telling their student athletes here, I'm always like, you don't think you matters, but I'm telling you, like driving safe and having a good record, all those things come to you when you want to do a future. So, I mean, that was a great lesson for me, how detailed the government went into this. So I think it's a great, I always tell that to my student athletes, like the little things matter and you don't think they do, but they really do. And having like like great grades really helps too. All those little things. So yeah, that's a little bit about my process there.
Well, that was not an easy process at all, and I think makes me understand how I took for granted my ability to get into coaching without any other issues. But 3 great years at Texas A&M working for Coach Chadwell at A&M, and you made match play all 3 years at Nationals. Pretty incredible. You had 5 girls or females play in the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which is pretty amazing in 3 years. And you had a young lady win the NCAA individual title. So a lot of great things happened that probably didn't hurt in helping you get another job, I would think. So talk about your time with Coach Chadwell. What are your biggest takeaways from your time spent with him?
For sure. I mean, I think now as a coach, I actually look back more into it and then I see all these little things that he did that you maybe oversee and that it's amazing. I mean, I think he's a great person to look up for to recruiting and just how he's with people. I mean, he's like the most like the coach that the way he's with people and the girls and how he recruits, it's amazing. Like when he talks to people, I've learned from him, I learned so much how he just like the messages that he gives, like just the way the language matters so much, the tone, the language, the way he gives messages, the way he speak like himself in public, all of that was my biggest takeaway from him. Just like such a good, and there's so many other things that sometimes you don't see, all the responsibilities, the meetings, the calls, like all of these things that you don't really see as an assistant or, but I mean, I think he was a great influence for me. I mean, for sure, I wouldn't be where I am without him and the opportunity that he gave me to be at A&M. The 3 years that I was there, the most amazing 3 years coaching. I had so much fun. I mean, these kids, we had very different kids, but it was amazing. I mean, the chemistry that we had. My second year there was probably the best year I've ever had. When we had Haley Cooper as a senior, an amazing teammate and leader. I really thought that was our year, if I'm honest with you. Like we were winning a lot. I really felt like that year was our year. Like it was just, but the 3 years, I mean, coaching a player, Adela winning a national championship. I mean, if you see Adela when she first started and how, I mean, that's a kid that works hard and has changed a lot of things through her college career, got an amazing golf coach behind her, Jorge, and things that like really match her and just working hard and really doing what she was supposed to do because you can work hard and not work on the right things and that can actually hurt you more. But she really works hard in the things that she needs to work hard on. And I think coaching these kids, it wasn't just one, it was coaching all of them. It was all about giving them the confidence and to play their best. But it was like, I think I really learned. My coach did such a good job in the transfer portal too. I mean, we got 3 great kids in the transfer portal, managing scholarships, after COVID, the 5th year, having Blanca that was a great player there. But those 3 years were amazing. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be here without that, learning for that. But as an assistant coach, I really loved it. Like I loved every single like postseason match play. It really teaches you too how to like play match play. I mean, as a coach too, like how do you manage this? Like I think we got better as the years went by. Like how do we match these players? Who do we put first? Like it's kind of really nice when you know your players more. Like that 3rd year, we felt so much more comfortable setting them up to matches and all of those little things that kind of like you kind of see why like these older teams, you understand why they do better in a way. But I mean, I can't expand enough how amazing those 3 years. I mean, obviously there were challenges through it, like everything, but it was an amazing 3 years for sure.
Yeah, well, success-wise for sure, but obviously the personal growth, the professional growth that you did during the time. But one of your great qualities, in my opinion, and the reason I wanted to have you on this podcast anyway, was just your enthusiasm. I know you have bad days. I know you have bad times that aren't perfect. You're like any other human, but how have you used enthusiasm, a true infectious enthusiasm, to benefit you in coaching?
I mean, I think it's like, these kids, they have it hard out. I mean, I just feel like they have so much to handle in their lives, or like in their eyes, they do too. And I think like just someone that is super positive for them and sees the bright things, and they feed off of you so much. Like if you're being negative and complaining about things, how are they not? Like for me, it's like it's 6 a.m. and we have workouts and I'm out there with them and I'm like, this is the best day of our lives. And we just kind of they're like, Coach, it's 6 a.m. Why are you so happy? And I'm like, well, we have this amazing facility. We're working out with the best coach. They're almost like, I don't understand how you can be so positive all the time. But I honestly think that they feed off so much on you. And golf is a really tough sport that puts you down more than up. For sure. Like you're gonna lose way more than you're gonna win. I mean, that's a fact. And most sports are, but this one is tough. I mean, finishing second and third, it's a good week, but you're still not winning. Like it's like how many times you have a good season and you finish second, third. And so I think being an enthusiastic coach and wanting to get better every day, and how do I help you? How do we get better? What are the ways to get better? Like always, all the time, being behind them. I think I think the intensity of it is the best part. Like I think they're all like behind them, being like, and I know how to also be like maybe players, they don't need me to be behind them as much. And that's okay too. Like I think like it's about nailing what works for each player. Like there are players here that for me it's better to kind of step back and let them be and just be like, do you need anything? No, I'm good. Okay, great. And there are some that need a lot of just enthusiasm and how are you and how are things at home? Are you like even more caring in a way? But I think just the care is what has, I mean, just really, really understanding these kids. And I love this. I think like I've always said this, if you take care of the person, you take care of the player a lot. Like I mean, obviously you have to recruit good players, you have to do all these things and bring the best talent you can do here. But once they're here, you really take care of the person, the player, you really can do great things. I believe as a coach. I mean, you're their mentor, their mom, their dad. They're far from home, especially here as an intern. I have a very international team. They're all far from home. So I think like, but it's also about having the right staff too. And that's what I've learned as a coach, like having a great assistant coach and having someone that you trust in. It's super important. One of the most probably important decisions that you take, having the right person in your side. Yeah.
Tell me about your assistant. I know his name. I've seen his bio, but talk to me about him.
Well, his name's Brady. He came from Colorado, and I would say we're the most opposite personalities you can ever think of. I'm like very intense, like I work on a schedule, super like organized, and he's like from Washington, very chill, like doesn't nothing bothers him. But it's really nice for me because he calms me and we like really have these great personal, both of us. We match really well in like a coaching perspective. Like he gets along really, really well with kids on the course, me with others. Like we kind of combine really, really well in that. But it's great to work with someone that really like brings like, what do you need? What can I do? Like just like he's intense in his own way, but really calms me as a coach and be like, we don't have to worry, everything will work out. Let's like look back and get into this. But it's been great, a great person for me to start growing and do all these things because you come in here and to be honest, like you can be as prepared as you think you are, and you're not. You're really not. There's a lot of things that come your way, but you got to work hard, and that's all that matters. So.
It is a lot that matters for sure. So we mentioned enthusiasm, you mentioned intensity. Your assistant coach is intense in his own way, but very chill.
Yeah.
Okay, you've taken over the program at an iconic college golf program. Won several national championships, had Annika, had Lorena has had some great players in recent years, won a national championship 5 or 6 years ago. That has to, how do I say this? I don't want to say this to give you a phobia, but there's got to be a little bit of expectation there. How much of it is self-imposed? How much is actually just the history of the program? And how are you dealing with all those pressures?
I mean, for sure, a lot of pressure, you know? I mean, you get hired and you're like, okay, like you won a national champion in 2018. We're expecting you to win this year again, you know? And with kids, you don't even know too. So, I mean, you research, you do. So there's always pressure. I think when you first start, you're like, okay, I have these teams, but I don't have anybody the next 2 years. Like you just, I mean, you either you're super pressured and you're stressed and you don't do, or you just go. And for me, that was the thing. I'm like, how do I focus? I'm super stressed. And I think like I had a lot of things to handle at first, but my best way to do it was like, okay, let's do one thing at a time. Like I have to recruit a lot. Let's do this. But I mean, there's always pressure for you personally, and you want to do good, well for you and this new job and everybody. But I think I've tried to really put that aside and be like, okay, what's the best way for me to be the best coach here? So I've like kind of like put, I mean, I always leave stress. Like I think in this life, you like in this job, you're always a little stressed, and you go to your first tournament and you're like, well, you gotta do well. But I feel like I'm pretty good about just focusing on what I have in front of me at first. Like I'm like, okay, one day at a time, like let's prepare our best. Let's do this, let's do that. But I mean, I think I can't deny that I had a lot of pressure. I lost like 15 pounds over the summer just working, and um but I'm pretty like in order like for me to explain it better, I'm pretty good about just trying to focus day by day, because if not, this consumes you. Like if you're like, okay, am I gonna win? What am I gonna do? Like I need to win in order to have this job. And I think I've taken it more like I'm doing and do everything I can. I'm gonna recruit as hard as I can, work as hard as I can, do everything for these kids, help them develop. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, then honestly, like there's nothing else I could have done. And that's kind of how I lived in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call people to ask for advice. I'm gonna ask this, like anything I can do. Surrounding myself with great people here too. Like, why is Arizona so great? Like, why I want to bring players to this place? Like, I've talked a lot to the former coach, Laura, and asked her so many questions. You know, she was a great coach here. Like, why is it such a good program? Like, what did you do so well here? Like all these things, like amazing coaches here that is like, why do you love Arizona so much? Like when I first started recruiting here, I like the school, but you don't know what you're walking yourself into really. Like, okay, how am I going to do an official visit? Like, where am I going to go? So I literally went and did campus visits and all these things to really get involved with Arizona and fall in love with it. And I think when you love a place, you really portray that love to people too. So I mean, that's my how I live by. Like I think like when you do everything you can every day, I think there's always like in me, there's always like there's something else I could have done. But but in a
Well,
way that yeah, yeah.
you must be doing something right. In this fall season, you played 4 tournaments and your team won two. You bookended, you won the first one and the last one. So talk about why you think you've had success early on. Obviously, Laura left you with some good players. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But you won two of your 4 tournaments, so something you're doing is working.
Yeah, I mean they're great kids. They had a great summer too. We had, I mean, I think we've had like personal meetings at the end of the season, and every single kid that I've had, they've been like, this has been the most fun I've ever had in my life with a team. And I think that says a lot. Like I've never laughed so hard than I laughed in my first event with these kids. Like it was just like the most. But I mean, besides how much fun and the culture that we had, I think like I've just embraced each person and really let them be. You know, like I didn't come in as a coach that I wanted to really change these kids. Like I didn't want to change these kids. For me, it was more getting to know them and how I can be a great resource for them. You obviously like want to build a culture and you have your different aspects, and you're gonna have rules and you're gonna have different things that what they previously had. And that's always a challenge to impose these new things. But I kind of really started more as a, okay, what kind of player are you? What do you like? What do you like? Like, how can I help you through this all? Like, this is how I like things to do. Like, what do you do? How can you get better? Like, let's dig into this. And I really got to know them and I let them be. I mean, I have very passionate kids, but I think like one of my kids is like gets very angry and has like she's one of the most talented but very angry. And I think the first qualifier she got really upset and I was like I kind of let her be the first round and she was like, you didn't tell me anything. And I was like, yeah, because you just shot a bad round and I wanted to just like watch you and see you because it's not doing anything good for you at all. Like if you see yourself like was throwing a club really helping you? Like you got to see it for yourself. Like I'm like, no, it's not great and it doesn't look good. And I actually we videoed her and showed her and we actually did it. And I'm like, if it was doing something well for you, then by all means, but it's not. And I think like just letting them see themselves, that's how I've been helping these kids. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like I don't think there's like a magic thing for me to have a great success. It's just been really being there for these kids and helping each person. And that has helped my team tremendously. Yeah.
There's a little bit of wisdom in there. Sometimes we try to overcoach and do too much
Yeah.
and change.
Um,
I think the best instructors, the best coaches affect a lot of change with very little things change. You do very little to affect a lot of change. So that sounds like to me you're allowing those girls to be who they are and they're happy with that change and they're happy with that approach for sure. So great start. Well done. You've got to only keep that up for the next 40 years. No big deal. Keep
yeah,
going.
it was good. I mean, I would say St. Andrews was such a special place. It was, I mean, we won, but that week being in that old course, these kids, like we had a rainy day in the old course. But, you know, none of my kids complain about being wet or being like they were really truly enjoying. Like we had a meeting the day after, and I'm like, this one, you don't have a practice round. You're
Mhm.
just going the next day and playing the course. And you know that, I mean, every probably people that are going to hear these, they know these course. There's a lot of bunkers out there. I mean, they put some pins that you can't really like be aggressive to if you're not on the right spot of the fairway, all of these things. And we kind of went over the meeting the night before and they're like, coach, like, I mean, how am I going to know where to go and all of this? And you had caddies, but just really embracing the day and being grateful, but also like I'm like, we got to enjoy this, but it's a tournament, you know, like we got to play our best. Like I want you guys to enjoy it, but also be competitive and beat Northwestern. Like we're here to play great golf. And I think like we had a super long like tour the day before that ended up at 9 or 10. But I think I have kids that they really don't complain. I'm like, we gotta be here. We're here. And everybody else is, and we just gotta play tomorrow. And like that's I think the culture that we're building over that has been awesome. But the old course, I think like I told the golf channel this, I was like, I need you guys to be in every tournament that we're playing because every time we're on TV, they do great. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for these spring season, you know, like these kids, like I think we're gonna make a great off season. It's 3 months. I mean, you know how these is coach, like sometimes 3 months, I mean, it could be great, or if you don't know how to handle these 3 months, it could like you want them to be super ready when you come back. But you gotta make sure you're really following them and making sure they're doing the right things this like off season. And but I'm super grateful to be here, so happy. But there's definitely a lot of challenges that come as a head coach that you probably didn't know before, and trying to embracing it all. But I'm not perfect, that's for sure. Like you make a lot of mistakes along the way, that you're like, okay, here or there, but I think it's all a matter of learning from them, and doing better the next day.
Well, you said 3 months. I know this. I don't know a lot about the next 3 months, 3.5 months before we go to the next tournament or before we start the spring season. I do know this. We will not be the same team. and no country in the team will be this, no team in the country will be the same. So something's going to change. You just have to decide what change you want, and hopefully your off season is as good as the one I've planned for us. We'll just see. Speaking of that, just tell me a little bit about your roster before we finish up here, okay? Tell me about your team.
Yes, I mean, I have 8 kids, six very international, six very international kids. You know, we have girl from Argentina, Germany, Italy, Thailand, France, Kansas, Arizona. So very, very international, very different cultures, very different personalities. But I mean, I think my biggest thing has been us, like each kid is different in a lot of ways, golf wise, personality wise. Like it's just about I love each of these kids. Like how do I approach them? It's different in the course and in practice too. But the biggest thing is like when we started this year, I think it was building culture from there. So it was all about coming together and what are our core values. And we came up with them together. So we have core values as a family. And then we did team goals, like kind of like what we want for the team, what we accomplish. And that was goals results wise, but most than anything, it was process goals. And it was what we want. And every week we go like, have we achieved this goal? Have we done this? Have we done that? And every person also has process goals. And but I think that has really kept us like really good as a team, just these process goals and how we like have like every week we have like meetings with not every week, but after each tournament, we come together and then we kind of like see the week. And this is something I actually learned from you, which I love. It's that when you finish the tournaments, you let the kids kind of they write you what they felt in the tournament and what it was, because I think stats and what we see as coaches is very different to what it was at the end. Like, you know, we cannot be with them 24/7 with most of the kids. Like you walk a lot with the freshmen, and sometimes you don't see. So I think that's something that I've embraced and I loved. And it's amazing the things that you get from each kid because you get the mental side a lot. Like, yes, they miss a lot of 3-footers, 4-footers, but why? Like, I think those stories that you said tell you a lot of the why. And as a coach, it really helps you to go through that. But for me, that has been the biggest thing. I've taken a lot of things from you, coach, which is funny, but just like doing that with my kids has helped me tremendously. Walking, like before we actually went into our first tournament, which I think helped me as a coach a lot, I walked with each kid in qualifying. Every qualifying, I walked 9 holes with each kid to get to know them better. Like, how do they like to be coached? What's for me to be the best caddy out there for them and really get to know them. And my assistant did the same. And I think that actually helped me a ton to get to know them in order to go to the first tournament. Because how was I going to coach them better if I like didn't really know the person or what they liked or how they function? It's like as a caddy, like, do they like a lot of numbers? Do they like this? Like I just as simple as I can make it for some of them, just being the best, I would say the best caddy for them I can be. But I've taken so much from that. But I think these kids, it's so much fun. I think like all of them, I have kids that are great at these things, great at other things, but they all blend really well. And at the end of the day, it's respecting each other and the different cultures that we have. But developing these kids, and like you said, I inherit this team, but still working hard to recruit for next generations, which is a huge part of our job. But it's definitely our job. It's probably like 10% coaching, I would say now, 10-20% coaching. And a lot of the other things is just caring and responsibilities. And the world that we're living in coaching now, how much has changed, so much managing. And yeah, the managing part, I thought I overlooked it as an assistant. And now as a coach, there's so much more managing that you have to do than I realized, and relationships at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of things. Young assistant coaches don't really understand. The head coach's chair feels a little different than the assistant coach's chair. You can't change that. You won't. It's just a different world, and that's okay. That's all right. It's good.
Yes.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much, Giovana, for just spending an hour with me today. I got to hear a bunch of your coaching philosophy, which I'd never heard you actually speak it like that, which was great, and your story too. So congratulations on a great start. Thank you for being on my podcast today, and best of luck. I hope to see you in the spring.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck to you. You know, once a Bear, you're always a Bear. So I'm always following the Bears. Wishing you guys the best success. I know you guys have had a good last couple years and this year. So wishing you guys the best and the Bears. And I'm very thankful to be in your podcast and looking forward for more.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Best of luck.